I think the fact that AJ Wilson is the best player in the world and the fact that she is actively trying to like ruin Caitlin Clark.
AJ Wilson has a problem, and it's Caitlin Clark. The WNBA superstar lost her cool when she heard about Clark's latest award. The three-time MVP and Las Vegas Aces champion couldn't hold back her thoughts, and her reaction spread like wildfire across social media, leaving basketball fans stunned. Now, everyone's asking, why can't Wilson handle Clark's success? Is this just another outburst, or has Wilson finally cracked under pressure? The drama that's rocking the WNBA is about to get even messier. When she was asked about Caitlin Clark, A.A. Wilson stated that Caitlin Clark is only as popular as she is because of her race, and there's nothing that anyone else can do about it. She claimed it had nothing to do with Clark's skill, implying that Clark was only popular because of her race. When Time magazine announced Caitlin Clark as one of their featured athletes, Wilson went straight to Twitter. She didn't just drop a single tweet. She unleashed a storm that shook the basketball world. Within minutes, her feed filled up with posts questioning not just the award, but the entire system of recognition in women's basketball. A two-time league champion and now a three-time WNBA MVP, Wilson told the Associated Press that she thought Clark's race was a huge contributor to her popularity. It doesn't matter what we all do as black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug, she said, adding that it boiled her blood when people claimed it wasn't about race because to her it was. Here was a three-time MVP, a player who had taken her team to multiple championships, feeling overlooked because of a rookie's recognition. The timing couldn't have been more telling. Just days before, Wilson had been celebrating another stellar season with the Aces, but Clark's Time magazine feature seemed to hit a nerve. Wilson's supporters immediately jumped in, flooding social media with comparisons of their achievements. They pointed out Wilson's incredible stats, her game-changing plays, her consistent performance under pressure, and her role in transforming the Las Vegas Aces into a dynasty. In contrast, Wilson herself responded, saying she didn't pay attention to the noise because she was focused on her season and teammates. I have a scout, I have 11 other minds on my team in my locker room that we got to make sure that we're on the same mindset, she said, emphasizing that her goal was simply to be the best she could for her teammates. However, while Wilson's fans were fighting her battle online, other WNBA players stayed surprisingly quiet. The silence from her peers spoke volumes. Veterans of the game, who had seen their fair share of awards and recognition, didn't join in the debate. Instead, they watched as Wilson's tweets kept coming, each one more pointed than the last. If A.A. Wilson had stayed silent during the season, she would have been one of the most popular basketball players, but the drama surrounding her only intensified. What made this meltdown particularly fascinating was its context. Wilson wasn't just any player feeling overlooked. She was already at the top of her game. She had a signature shoe deal with Adidas, her jersey sales were through the roof, and the Aces had built their entire franchise around her. Yet somehow, Clark's recognition in Time magazine seemed to threaten all of that. As Wilson's tweets evolved from subtle jabs to direct accusations, she started questioning the media's motives and suggesting bias in coverage. Her followers multiplied, turning her personal frustration into a full-blown movement. The drama escalated when Caitlin Clark's Nike deal was announced, followed by Clark's signature shoe release. Wilson took to Twitter with a series of posts about how she would never get the recognition she deserved, implying that Clark's success was tied to her race. Media outlets immediately picked up the story, and sports analysts, who usually focused on game statistics, found themselves dissecting Wilson's social media behavior. Some defended her right to express frustration, while others questioned whether a player of her caliber should be so publicly rattled by a rookie's success. What started as a reaction to a magazine feature had become a broader conversation about recognition, respect, and representation in women's sports. Wilson's signature shoe partner, Adidas, nervously watched from the sidelines. Their star athlete was making headlines, but not for her amazing plays or championship victories. Instead, she was trending for what many saw as an emotional outburst against a rising star. The drama deepened when clips of Wilson's past interviews surfaced, showing her talking about supporting young talent and lifting up the next generation of players. These clips, juxtaposed with her recent tweets, painted a picture of a champion struggling with change. Basketball blogs had a field day analyzing every word, noting how Wilson's language changed when discussing Clark versus other rookies. Former WNBA stars, understanding the pressure of being at the top, began weighing in. They shared stories of their own struggles with passing the torch, but agreed that Wilson's public reaction wasn't helping anyone, least of all herself. The meltdown reached its peak when Wilson sarcastically responded to a fan who suggested she focus on her own game. Her tweet, "Focus on my game. 3 MVPs isn't enough?" Focus there was deleted within hours, but the screenshots spread like wildfire. Sports psychologists discuss the pressure of being the face of the league and maintaining dominance in an evolving sport. Some suggested that Wilson's reactions revealed deeper insecurities about her place in basketball history. The Aces PR team scrambled to control the narrative, highlighting Wilson's community work, leadership, and dedication to growing the game. But with each new tweet, their job became harder. How do you spin a story when your protagonist keeps adding new chapters? As the drama continued, questions about competition in women's sports, the pressure to stay relevant in the social media age, and the complex dynamics between established stars and rising talents took center stage. This episode revealed something crucial about modern sports. It's not just about what happens on the court anymore. Every tweet, post, and reaction becomes part of an athlete's story. For Wilson, this Twitter meltdown added a complicated chapter to what had been a fairly straightforward success story. Looking back, this moment marked a turning point. It wasn't just about Wilson's reaction to Clark's Time magazine feature anymore. It became about how champions handle change, share the spotlight, and how social media can turn personal moments into public spectacles. This reaction to Clark's Time magazine feature wasn't an isolated incident. Wilson's behavior had been following a concerning pattern ever since Clark began making waves in women's basketball. When news broke about Clark's signature shoe deal with Nike, Wilson didn't stay quiet. Instead, she took to social media with posts that raised eyebrows across the basketball community. Wilson, who already had her own signature shoe deal with Adidas, struggled to celebrate Clark joining the exclusive club of WNBA players with their own shoe lines. The situation became even more complicated when reports emerged suggesting that Nike had delayed Clark's shoe release, fearing Wilson's reaction. The drama continued when Clark's Indiana Fever selection was confirmed. Wilson's comments about playing in Indiana struck many as strange, considering her status as a WNBA champion. The basketball world was confused by her reaction, and when basketball legend Rebecca Lobo suggested Wilson might be a unanimous MVP choice, Wilson's supporters attacked Lobo online. Wilson's silence during this attack spoke volumes. She could have calmed her fans down with a single tweet, but she chose not to. The pattern extended to every one of Clark's achievements. Each milestone Clark reached seemed to trigger a response from Wilson. It got to the point where basketball fans started anticipating Wilson's reactions almost as much as they anticipated Clark's accomplishments. Media outlets began compiling videos of Wilson's responses to Clark's success. Meanwhile, team dynamics within the Aces were strained. Wilson's teammates were constantly asked about the situation, and they had to balance supporting their star player while acknowledging Clark's achievements. As the WNBA's front office watched the drama unfold, their concerns grew. The league was experiencing unprecedented growth, attracting new fans and sponsors. But instead of headlines focusing on amazing plays and rising viewership, attention kept shifting to the drama between Wilson and Clark. Veteran players carefully started to speak up. They understood the pressure of being at the top, but the advent of social media had changed the game. What might have once been private frustrations now played out in public for everyone to see and analyze. Marketing experts started to worry about how Wilson's behavior would affect her brand long-term. She had built her image as a confident champion who lifted others up, but now that image was showing cracks. Sponsors began asking whether they wanted their products associated with someone who seemed increasingly focused on tearing others down rather than building up. Meanwhile, basketball commentators found themselves walking on eggshells, careful not to praise Clark too much for fear of triggering another response from Wilson. Social media analysts tracked an interesting trend. Every time Wilson reacted negatively to Clark's success, her follower count dropped slightly. It wasn't massive, but it was enough to show how fans were responding to her behavior. Some of Wilson's most loyal supporters began questioning if their champion was fighting the wrong battles. This pattern reached beyond basketball circles. Major news outlets began covering the story not as a sports story, but as a human interest piece. They explored themes of rivalry, insecurity, and the challenges of staying on top in professional sports. Wilson's behavior became a case study in how not to handle competition. Sports psychologists pointed out that Wilson's behavior suggested she was struggling with change, rather than being truly angry at Clark. It wasn't about individual achievements anymore, but about what those achievements represented in a shifting landscape of women's basketball. Other WNBA players started positioning themselves differently. Names like Nafi Sakur and A.R. Ojenbale gaining popularity for how they handled Clark's rise with grace and support, showing that there was another way to remain relevant while welcoming new talent. Meanwhile, Wilson's game remained impressive, with stats possibly even improving, but the joy seemed to be missing. Fans noticed fewer smiles, less interaction with crowds, a champion who seemed burdened rather than empowered by her own success. As the season progressed, the cycle of Clark's achievements triggering Wilson's reactions became more predictable. It was exhausting for everyone involved, especially those who just wanted to enjoy the sport. Looking ahead, questions loomed large. Can Wilson break this path? Will Clark's actual WNBA debut make things better or worse? The future of the league might depend on how this relationship develops. Right now, what should be a story about women's basketball reaching new heights had become a cautionary tale about how success can sometimes bring out unexpected responses, even from the biggest stars. The basketball community has started speculating about what happens next. Industry experts predict that the first direct matchup between Wilson and Clark will draw record viewership, with ticket prices for Aces versus Fever games already skyrocketing. Fans are eager to witness this drama unfold on the court. But behind closed doors, team owners worry about the long-term impact. The WNBA needs strong personalities and healthy rivalries, but this situation feels different. It's creating divisions within the fan base at a time when the league should be united in celebrating its growth. Clark's approach adds another layer to the drama. She has maintained a diplomatic stance, never directly responding to Wilson's comments. When reporters try to bait her into the drama, she redirects the conversation to basketball. This mature handling of the situation has won her more supporters, inadvertently making Wilson's reactions seem even more out of place. Sponsors are watching closely. Two major brands looking to invest in women's basketball want positive stories to tell. Wilson's pattern of behavior makes marketing executives nervous. They're asking themselves, do they want their brands associated with someone who seems increasingly bitter about another player's success? This situation has even affected how young players view the league. Coaches report that their players are discussing it, with some questioning whether this is what success in the WNBA looks like. It's not the kind of conversation the league wants future stars having. Youth basketball camps have seen changes too. Where Wilson was once a universal role model, now some parents express concern about their children following her on social media. The very platforms that helped build Wilson's brand are now showcasing its potential unraveling. Local media in Las Vegas, once staunchly supportive of Wilson, have begun publishing editorials asking her to reconsider her approach. They recognize her immense contribution to the city's basketball culture, but worry her legacy might be overshadowed by this ongoing drama. Looking at the numbers, Wilson's pattern of behavior hasn't hurt her game statistics. She's still putting up MVP-worthy numbers, but analysts point out a subtle shift. Engagement with her positive highlights has dropped, while clips of her controversial moments get more attention. This change could have major implications for her career narrative. WNBA historians draw parallels to past transitions of power in the league, but note the uniqueness of this situation. Never before has social media allowed fans to track a star's reaction to emerging talent in such detail. Every post, like, and retweet from Wilson becomes part of a larger story about handling competition in the digital age. As the new season approaches, basketball insiders predict this pattern will either break or intensify. There's no middle ground left. Wilson must either find a way to coexist with Clark's stardom or risk becoming known more for her reactions than her remarkable achievements on court. The question everyone's asking isn't if Wilson will respond to Clark's next achievement, but how will she continue this pattern of challenging every accolade? Or will she find a new way to assert her own legacy without diminishing others? The answer could define not just her career, but this era of women's basketball. I don't really listen to it, honestly, because I'm in season. I have other things that we need to worry about than what other people have to say. I have a scout. I have 11 other minds on my team in my locker room that we got to make sure that we're on the same mindset. So I really can't give you the best answer on that because I really don't pay any attention to it. My goal is just to go out there and be the best that I can be for my teammates, both on and off the court. And we're going to go out there and be us. A.A. Wilson has a problem, and it's Caitlin Clark. The WNBA superstar lost her cool when she heard about Clark's latest award. The three-time MVP and Las Vegas Aces champion couldn't hold back her thoughts, and her reaction spread like wildfire across social media, leaving basketball fans stunned. Now everyone's asking, why can't Wilson handle Clark's success? Is this just another outburst, or has Wilson finally cracked under pressure? The drama that's rocking the WNBA is about to get even messier.